Hello. I'm Nick Briggs. I'm the voice of the Daleks.
And I'm Barnaby Edwards. I am one of the Daleks.
And I'm Nicholas Pegg, and I'm another one of the Daleks.
And the surprise about this episode is we're not in it.
Well, yes. We are a little bit later on.
Welcome to all you who are listening to BBC 7 or are watching BBC 3 or downloading it from the website.
From the website. Very good, Nick.
Yeah,
that's very good indeed.
There we are.
Yeah, and thank you very much to the lovely Doctor Who people for inviting us along to share our Dalek nonsense.
Yes, and this champagne's lovely.
It's delicious, isn't it?
Now, this is a very unusual scene in that it's an external shot and it's in the daytime.
Yes. I imagine this being in London.
Yes, well, of course it's London. It's, It's Cardiff, London.
To London, yes.
Yeah, that's right. Yes, of course, that's one of the things about this, obviously, because it is the nature of the story that once the Earth gets moved, we're in dark space, so all of the location stuff after this opening sequence was shot at night. We had a lot of night shooting on this, didn't we?
Yes. Yeah, actually. More than we've done before. Would that be true to say?
Definitely.
Yeah, absolutely. And indeed, location shooting, which we've never done quite the same way before.
Yeah, we've been on location several times in Dalek stories before, but this was the first time that we'd ever actually been out of doors on the streets with crowds of people gathering to watch and all of that going on. We'd been on interior locations like the theatre in the Manhattan episodes, and you were in the Millennium Stadium.
The Millennium Stadium for Dalek.
Oh, that's right, yeah. And of course, we're in space here.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Which is everything's cold in space.
You have to hold your breath a lot for that sequence.
Yeah. Yeah. So do you think before we get to us appearing, why don't we fill all the lovely people in on a little bit about what we actually do as Daleks? Nick, tell us about doing the Dalek voice. putting on the Ritz, putting on the Dalek voice.
Well, I just put it on, really. It's not the way I normally speak. So it is very much putting on.
But this episode features you in a number of different guises.
That's true.
You've got Jadoon voices and...
there's Dalek Khan and the Supreme Dalek, as well as a whole army of other Daleks of various voices. Yeah.
Now, this particular location here is not actually New York.
You'd be surprised to hear.
The Cardiff Traffic Control Location
That's right, it was a traffic management centre or something like that, wasn't it?
Sort of hidden in the middle of a dual carriageway or a motorway or something.
Sort of great big roundabout in the middle of
that's
an
what
orbital system or something, wasn't it? Yeah, that's right. And this was one of the... So this is a location, even though it's an indoors location, and this was a night shoot, wasn't it?
Yes.
We came on right at the end of that night. The bit with the Daleks that you'll see later on in the New York Unit HQ was about sort of 5:30 in the morning, I seem to remember.
Yeah. And I think
this is a set at
Upper
Boat.
Course, yes, we're back at Upper Boat Studios now for Torchwood.
Set.
Yeah.
But what time did you say we finished at the traffic control centre?
That was certainly... what I remember about that particular thing when we were at the traffic control centre is that we did our shot right at the end of the whole thing, as you would expect, because it's the Daleks bursting in at the end and making a bit of a mess of the place. And we must have done that at something like 5:30 in the morning, because we then got driven back to our hotel. Then I have this vivid memory that we got back to the hotel, had breakfast, and then all went to bed.
Yes. Well, the breakfast was free, you see, so you have to have the breakfast. We didn't want it, but we forced it down ourselves. So it was our evening meal, really,
That's right.
wasn't it? Yeah.
I had breakfast with Elizabeth Sladen. She was saying that she doesn't really like Mr. Smith, not for any artistic reasons, but because whenever he's operated, he is so hot that they're all absolutely dripping with sweat whenever they have to speak to him.
Mr. Smith is hot.
And this is, of course, the brilliant Bernard Cribbins.
Fantastic Bernard Cribbins. We love Bernard
and Jackie
Cribbins.
as well.
Yeah.
Fantastic.
And Barney, of course, you'd worked with Bernard Cribbins before this, hadn't you?
Yes, on the audio series, Nick and I worked with Bernard. He's just brilliant. I've always been a huge fan of his voice, particularly. But I mean, he's sensational in this.
Yeah, it was so lovely to see him turn up in the TV series.
Yeah. Oh, he's fantastic.
Well,
hey, Rose is back.
Very exciting.
It was quite a thrill, wasn't it, when the script for this one arrived and we started reading. Well, I don't know about you guys, but for me, I mean, just reading through, Rose appears and
yes, it's a real.
Freema's there and Captain Jack and all the Torchwood people, and it's a real...
And Wilf and everyone.
Yeah, absolutely fantastic. It's a real page-turner. They always are. It's always great reading through the script when it first arrives, but, this one was a bit of a... it was a thriller minute to read.
Well, someone joked to me that the real title was Uncle Tom Cobley, and episode 13 was called And All.
Now, how many names can we fit into this title sequence?
As many as possible. Yes.
They've missed
that. Mine will be there in a minute. Oh. No, what's that? I'll have a word with my agent.
Yeah. I've just changed my name by default to Doctor Who, so I'm always
I'm actually a flying blue box.
Oh, I know that.
But anyway, back to the episode.
Back to the matter in hand. Yes.
It is amazing to think that the TARDIS set is in the same studio, literally the same sort of studio space as the Torchwood set and Sarah Jane's flat.
That's right, just separated by some black drapes and things, and you walk around the back of the TARDIS set
You
and
can
get
tear down the curtains of reality.
You could. It's a wonder they don't appear in more episodes together.
Yeah.
By accident.
You don't hear them. Yes, so Torchwood is behind the TARDIS.
And to the left of the TARDIS is Sarah Jane.
Sarah Jane's attic,
Yeah.
Which is, I haven't been in it while they've been filming, obviously, but, I've had a little look around, and it is a very hot little set because it's very enclosed and it's quite small and it's got a ceiling and everything, so I can imagine once the lights come on and Mr. Smith starts doing his stuff, it must get hot in there. So
we're never lady's appeared in a lot of Doctor Who episodes, hasn't she?
Yeah, she's a regular, really, isn't she? Semi-regular, yeah.
Sammy regular.
Sammy, good to see you again, Sammy. Yeah. And
Hey!
it's Richard Dawkins.
Now, you've met you know Richard Dawkins of old. Don't you, Nick?
Well, I
Mr.
don't
Pegg.
know him of old, but yes, I've certainly met him a few times. I know his wife.
I don't believe he exists.
Really? Very good, very
And
good.
Mr. Briggs, you've met that dog before.
Yeah. Yes.
That's right, yes.
That is actually me.
Brilliant.
Wearing a dog suit. They decided they promised they'd get me on screen in Doctor Who,
And there you are in the
Andy
dog.
Pryor came up with put a dog suit on him and CGI him onto
Brilliant. And I
that
think it's
celebrity chat show host, whoever it was.
it was very unkind of Gareth just to laugh at your performance there.
I know. How could he? Yes, you asked me about the Dalek voices. Can you say a little bit about being in Daleks for those who don't know about that sort of thing?
Well, who's going? Barney, do you
Well,
want?
there's a sort of myth that you have to be small. It's certainly you get less damaged if you're small. But I'm 5'9", and Nick, you're 6 foot.
I'm 6'3" when I stand up straight, so
Yeah.
no, you don't have to be that small. I mean,
But since he's been in a Dalek, he hasn't stood up straight.
That's right. But no, I mean, you get to sit down, and obviously once you're sat down, it's quite cramped in there, but it is for everyone, isn't it? I mean, even though I'm a bit taller than you, I don't think you find it particularly spacious, do you?
But you have, you sit on a little sort of plank inside. You move the whole thing around with your feet. It's very much like being in the sort of the Flintstones car. And you have to operate the sucker and the gun arm yourself, and sometimes you have to operate the manual head as well. But Nick and I normally have the robotic heads simply because
Which are remote controlled by a couple of guys called Colin and Lynn. Hello, Colin. Hello, Lynn. If you're listening.
There they are behind that bush.
Yes, they operate by remote control, the dome at the top and the eye going up and down. But as Barney's just said, there's also, that's two of the Daleks, and the other two, there are four main Dalek casings. The other two are manually controlled at the top. And we swap from one to the other depending on what's needed for each scene.
Cardiff on a Friday night.
Yeah.
That's
Pretty
a
normal.
quiet
sort of-
one.
Yeah,
Quiet
that's
one,
it.
it can't be Cardiff. It says Camden.
Oh,
there.
Camden. Sorry, yes.
Camden Fun Fair has come to Cardiff.
Yeah.
I love the fact that no one's reacting to the fact she's got a whacking great gun. Yeah.
It's a great scene, is it? This was up in Penarth, wasn't it?
What's it?
Is this the same location as the place later
No,
on?
no,
where
I don't
I
think it
beg your
is.
pardon. This is
Isn't it?
well, it's this is somewhere in Cardiff anyway.
We weren't,
Yes, that's
yeah,
right.
we
We weren't there. We're not in this bit, but no, this is great. I love all this sort of apocalyptic stuff.
Yes.
Good old Billy. Wasn't it great to see Billy again?
Oh, fantastic. Absolutely
It was
brilliant.
brilliant that she was back, wasn't it?
Yeah.
And there's a BBC Wales newsreader. I went to a big event in Cardiff to do with Doctor Who branding, and he presented it. He was very, very proud of his Doctor Who appearances and obviously guaranteed himself another role in the series.
I must remember to do that myself. Oh, he's brilliant,
He
isn't
is
he,
brilliant,
Bernard?
isn't he?
Absolutely fantastic. I love the way they're tying all these stories in together, that they've got them all sort of running parallel, cutting between them all. I mean, that was one of the sort of real page-turners of the script when we had it.
Yeah.
And we haven't, of course, mentioned here that we've got Michael Brandon, who's in charge of...
The great Michael Brandon.
In charge
Luckily,
of...
my singing's so bad, there won't be any PRS charge for that.
No.
Dempsey and Makepeace.
Absolutely. I can't remember which one he was, Dempsey or Makepeace, but it's probably so long ago he can't remember.
He was Dempsey's.
He was Dempsey's.
Dempsey's and Maker. Yeah, that's right. Yeah.
That's a lovely shot, isn't it? Really brilliant. He's very good, isn't he, Thomas? Really excellent.
Yeah,
I'll tell you something I really loved about reading the script and seeing it. It really comes out. I think it's, Russell's rather good at this job, isn't he? You don't need me to tell you that. But I love the fact that when the Daleks are first sort of revealed here, it's Sarah Jane who gets the sort of Dalek reveal moment, because it's so long since, we've seen Sarah meet the Daleks. And
that kissing and cuddling.
I mean, look at her go. Oh,
Absolutely brilliant.
She's brilliant, isn't she?
absolutely
Yeah.
fantastic.
Yeah.
What an actress. What a fantastic actress.
Yeah. And this, of course, was my first line in this.
Yeah.
Oh,
yeah.
It
yes.
took me a long time to learn it.
It's the Daleks' usual kind of message to mankind, isn't it?
Yeah.
They kind of.
It's not put the kettle on.
No. It's just
So
chanting.
did that particular thing? Did you do that in post production, Nick? Is that?
Well, those are actually. I did. I think I certainly didn't do that in post production, but I said exterminate a lot.
Yeah, absolutely.
And so they've just taken some of those.
Right.
I presume, anyway, yes. I mean, I did do quite a bit of what they call ADR, which is recording your voice afterwards.
Absolutely.
Obviously,
Quite a
that's
lot of Dalek spaceships there.
Yeah, quite a few.
Whee!
I think that's probably you, is it, Barney? We
It is.
couldn't work out. Yeah, and this is all of us. Now, this is an interesting thing. This scene here was shot twice. Graham Harper, who we love, originally shot it in a different way, where we all came up and ended up lined up in front of the camera, and he changed his mind and thought he wanted us all coming around the control panel instead, so we went back and shot it in a totally different way.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It was a beautiful, fast, smooth movement there, I thought, guys.
Well, very kind of you. Thank you very much.
Yeah. It's really, really nice to see the Daleks moving quickly. There's been a bit of a tendency for them to be quite, especially in the first story,
Yeah.
Joe Ahern was really wanted that Dalek to be like an unstoppable tank.
Yes,
and I think
absolutely.
they've kind of got faster and faster as we've gone along.
It's funny. Each director has had different ideas about the way that they should move, haven't they? Now, this is you, isn't it, Barney?
This is me.
Inside
The exciting thing about the Supreme Dalek, or the Superb Dalek, as Graham sometimes calls him,
That's
Yes,
right.
he did. It's
is
the
that
superb
that
Dalek.
door he comes through is about half an inch smaller than the Dalek. So we had to take out a central section for the section to go through, and then piece it back together again.
Didn't
the
they
other
move
side.
his ears as well?
They did. They actually had
the
to
ears
move
all
the
moved
lights.
down to the side,
Yeah,
just
that's
for him
right.
coming onto there.
And then they put them back again, didn't
Yeah.
they? So eagle-eyed viewers will notice that the ears go up and down a bit.
Infinitesimal.
I think that was just a character point I was putting
Yeah.
in my performance.
I'm glad Graham called it the superb. What was it?
the superb,
Superb
Dalek.
Dalek.
And then, of course, when we
He used to call me Nick Brill.
Oh,
He had it in his mind that there were two letters in my name, you see, and he decided it was L and not
now
G.
this is you again, isn't it, Nick, doing the Jadoon?
Yes.
The thing I really remember about this is that the Jadoon line there, you actually recorded in the studio when we were in the Daleks control room at one point, when you're just at the end of one of the
Right at
studio
the end
days,
of the day, yes.
And Graham just said, can everyone just be quiet for a moment? Nick's just going to do this this wild track for the Jadoon voice. So you sat there and you did your whole, no, good, whatever it is thing. And I have this distinct recollection of Billy Piper, who was just sitting there having a cup of coffee, looking up and looking at you with the most bewildered expression on it. What on earth is he doing?
That's her normal reaction to me, I have to say. Oh, Briggsy. The awful thing about that for me was that I'd said to the sound man, I said, well, look, we'll do it when everyone's gone. He went, yeah. And then I was just saying this to him again, and he went, Nick, they've stopped everything. And like the whole principal cast had all been prevented from leaving the set because we had to be quiet. So everyone was quiet and standing round, and I had to step right into I thought I'd just do it in some corner. And I stepped right into the middle of the set, and then they lowered a microphone down, and I thought, well, I am only reading it, but I better not muck it up, because I'll just look really stupid. And I did it perfectly, and then they said, and again? Oh, no. Anyway.
Now, this is in the Shadow Proclamation, isn't it? This is the first big cut from the scripts that we were sent.
Yes.
Is that when they initially turned up here, it wasn't just the Jadoon who were waiting for them, it was sort of the whole police from all the galaxy, wasn't it?
Well, there was some Slovenes,
That's right.
and I actually, when I went and did, there was a lot more Jadoon dialogue, and I went and recorded that beforehand. And just as I'd arrived there was a voice artist there who was doing Slovene voices. I can't remember his name, but he was a soldier in Resurrection of the Daleks. He was the sergeant.
Oh, really?
Yeah. That's what I remember. In fact, God, we must give him a job in the audio adventures. I promised him one. Anyway, Yeah, and also they'd had Annette Thingamy in
Annette Badland.
to do a Slitheen, and there were some other monsters as well. But
so this was a whole scene that was basically it was cut because the episode was a bit too long, and it would have cost a lot of money to do something that was just going to be a little extra.
Yeah, I'm not sure the reasons. I mean, maybe they felt that it was kind of, to coin a phrase, over-egging the pudding.
Over-egging the pudding. You don't want to do that.
There's just so much to fit into this episode, and indeed the next one, that they just sort of, something had to give, and obviously it was the new bits really that had to give.
And you don't want to take the focus away from the Daleks.
From the Daleks, no, absolutely.
And this is, of course, the Valiant, isn't it?
Yeah, sailing into action.
Yes. Ooh, what's that?
That's the Valiant down.
Oh, the Valiant's down.
It certainly is. Yeah, going back to what you were saying a little bit earlier on about the Dalek movement, each director has had a different take on how it's all been male directors for the Daleks so far, but how they feel that the Daleks should move, how fast they should go, how much they should twitch and wiggle and do whatever they do.
James Strong had a thing about twitching, didn't he?
He loved the eye stalk sort of twitching in a very sort of nervous sort of way. And on this one, absolutely, Graham. Oh, now here we come. This is the 5:30 in the morning.
That's too small.
That's Barney coming in first, and then I know it's I think it's me over to the right and you over to the left, isn't it? Yeah, that's right. And that's Dave in the back. Yeah. 5:30 in the morning, back home for breakfast. There we go.
We had, just so you know, we had 6 minutes to do that shot.
Oh, no,
I love that.
They just pumped
wonderful
shot,
smoke in.
No, this was a different location. This was a museum, wasn't it, or something?
Yes.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah,
very cold floors that we had to sit on.
It was a transport museum.
Some chairs. Yes,
that's right. And this was also a night shoot, wasn't it? Yes, it was. Yeah, don't think this was sort of 5:30 in the morning. This was more like, I don't know, 2 or 3 o'clock in the morning. Luxury.
Lots of hot soup.
Yeah, that's right. We went outside and had hot soup, didn't we? I remember.
Oh, that's right. On a piece of waste ground. Very nice.
The glamour of television.
Oh, there's the big key.
I suppose a lot of these places you film at night because it's when they're quiet.
That's right. Yeah. That's right. And of course, in this story, any light coming through a window, there hadn't to be any light coming through the window. It had to be dark outside. So
all the Daleks have just been having a big sauna down the end of this corridor.
That's right.
It's a bit of a running theme in this story. I mean, it always is, but particularly in this story, that just before they go for action, they pump the whole thing full of smoke because we've just blown the doors out or whatever. This happens here. It happened in the other one. It happens later on, of course, in the Harriet Jones house. And what that tends to mean is that we rehearse it, and that's fine. We can work out where we're going, and everything's super. And then just before the take, they fill the entire set, and indeed us, because once the smoke goes inside the Dalek,
you can't see anything or breathe.
So you just sort of take a deep breath and use the force,
Yeah. But then they get a bit confused when you don't know where you're going, because actually you almost don't know which way's up and which way's down.
That's right.
Could I just mention that in that corridor scene, that was during the filming of that, that's when the sound man Jules and I first started our hilarious joke that I'll now share with you and that will play to utter silence, that he kept pretending that he was going to grab my microphone and scream monkey nuts into it very loudly and then throw it into my lap and run away, and so I'd look like I'd been the silly one. And that's when we started doing that. And it went until the very last day when I actually did scream monkey nuts into the microphone and threw it into Jules's lap and ran away.
Very good.
That's a really very amusing story.
It is, yes. I can barely contain myself. Sorry, Davros, I spoke over your entrance.
Here's Davros now. Julian Bleach. And here's Dalek Khan.
It's
all
Khan.
happening, isn't it? Yeah, Julian Bleach was fantastic, wasn't he?
Yes,
fantastic
brilliant. And a lovely man.
And a lovely fellow.
Wonderful, yeah.
But yes, it's all happening here. Dalek Khan as well. And so Nick, you're wonderful. Interpretation
I'm wonderful,
of
thank
the
you very
role
much.
of Dalek Khan. What was the thinking behind this?
Well, I read the scripts and it described how to do it. So I just did that, really. I think it did say it was high. Oh, goodness. Yeah, the way I got into it was through the laugh, actually. Constantly, sort of, The idea was that he'd been sucked through the Time War and out again, and it had just... I imagined that all his neurons were all firing in the wrong direction, and so all the connections being made in his brain were completely illogical, but still through all that comes all this prophesying and everything. But that's why he was finding things funny and, So that was the idea.
Well,
So
I
it's
re-
all very, you know.
What I remember particularly is that when you sort of first did it, I was really impressed because you just absolutely went for it. You didn't do that sort of thing that people always do in rehearsals, which is and then I do the mad laugh. You absolutely went for it, and it was fantastic. No one laughed. Everyone was just sort of looking at each other, grinning and thinking how brilliant it was.
Oh, yeah. Everyone standing around the studio looking at each other with open mouths, going, pointing, obviously not making any noise because you were in the middle of recording it, but everyone
And phoning the
sort of
authorities.
doing faces that said, that's good, isn't it? Oh, listen to him.
Really?
So
That's
oh,
nice.
yeah.
I didn't know that. The thing is, it's being a director, as we all are directors, haven't we? We've all directed stuff, theatre and audio and what have
Sure.
you. You know what you want. You want people to just go for it. You don't want people to pussyfoot around, do you? So that's why you do it as an actor. You just get on with it. I
That's
think.
right.
Yeah. We're just about to have that mention of the bees coming up, which is a bit of a theme for this series.
Yes. The bees.
Bees.
Yeah, I wonder how the bees tie in with the wasps. It's a whole sort of, stinging creatures.
The whole kind of insectoid theme to this.
Yeah. Well, really just the bees and the wasps.
I think mainly it's the bees and the wasps, isn't it?
But I try to put a bit of that into my Dalek movement. Can I just tell you how incredibly hot it was inside the Supreme Stroke Superb Dalek?
Really?
I was right under about an 8 billion watt bulb.
That's right. If you look at the thing, there is a massive sort of spotlight, almost like a floodlight, coming down right on your head, isn't it, to make it really dramatic? So,
there's a small pool of sweat as the Dalek comes out underneath it. It's like a slug. It leaves this trail of
And we did a
sweat.
lot of those entrances, didn't we?
Yes.
I remember when because there were times, as there always are in the studio, when it takes a while to get everything done, and we can sometimes sit inside those Daleks for quite a long period of time on the trot. And every now and then, if we're particularly well behaved, they do let us take our lids off to get a bit of a breather and have a glass of water. I remember you sitting in your Dalek, you couldn't actually get out because that would have taken too long, but they'd taken the top off to let you have a breather. And someone had to stand there holding an umbrella over your head simply because that light was so hot that it was actually burning your head. It was incredible. I don't know if there's any amusing photographs of that, of you poking out the top of the Dalek with someone holding an umbrella, but it looked very funny anyway.
Well, I was wearing my full Mary Poppins outfit at the time.
And you stayed there until the wind changed. Yeah.
I did, yeah. That's basically what you do with Daleks.
I love this. Yeah, I was just going to get the key.
Oh, yeah.
They don't suspect a thing. and the Jadoon here doing his Homer Simpson.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, you should be, or like James Finlayson from the Laurel and Hardy movies.
Yes.
She's great, isn't she? Kelly Hunter. Absolutely brilliant.
Yeah. Oh, now here we are. Now this is down by the riverside, wasn't it? Now is that you? That's me behind the cars, but
That
that's
was
you
me going very, very fast
in the middle
on
of
the
the
middle of
road.
the road.
There we are, and we're threatening this funny. Now this guy, Gary Milner, he was a lovely fella.
Very nice.
He told us a funny story, didn't he? The name of the character as put in the script was Scared Man. Yeah. And he said he went along to read for the part for Andy Pryor, the casting director, and he said, he came in and they gave him the bit of page of script to look at, and he'd read it, and it said Scared Man, but he misread it and thought it said Sacred Man. I hope he doesn't mind me telling this story, but anyway, so he went in and did it, and he thought, what's a Sacred Man? And he did it as a sort of get back in the sky and some sort of priest sort of mad thing. And anyway, he must have done it right because
Andy Pryor's probably watching this now thinking, where's the sacredness gone?
Yeah, well, he got the part.
Very, very complicated
this was tricky because they put us on boards so that we didn't wobble too much on the pavement, but got away with that, didn't we? That looks pretty good. Yeah.
I would explain that during these bits, I'm in a van and they have a speaker outside, and so when people need to hear the Dalek voice, it's there. And I think it's very funny they're trying to sort of keep it confidential. The Daleks are back, and they're out in the middle of Cardiff with a big speaker out.
Now, this is you, isn't it, Barney?
That's me there. Yep, just in there.
I love this bit.
I love this bit. And Bernard Crimmins is just about to do a line that he added on location.
Yeah, he ad-libbed it, didn't he?
He just said, I think this would be funny if I just do this line about, do you want to swap guns?
Yes.
And it's lovely shot.
Nice shot, look at that.
That took a while.
I had to duck down during that explosion. Hey.
But the whole him blinding the Dalek, that was all Bernard's idea.
Absolutely, the whole idea about the paint gun and everything.
He'd said that to Russell, so Russell put it in the script. Yeah. Yes. That I remember having to come back from the meal break late at night just to do that last little bit.
Oh, yes,
you
that's
lot
right.
had gone, hadn't
well,
you? Because
Nick went first, didn't he? And then the three Daleks went first, and then I stayed behind to do that, and then I went, and then you were called back.
That's right. So,
you were in detention.
And then that shot there with the explosion, that was Bernard and Jackie's last
It was.
Yeah.
It was their last
Yes.
bit on the whole
Yeah.
shoot, wasn't it? And of
So there were
course,
lots
you know,
of
it's been
fond
right through the
farewells.
series. So yes, it was quite an
Yeah.
emotional night, wasn't it? Having blown up a Dalek, there were lots of fond farewells. That's right.
Now, you'd worked with Jackie before, hadn't you, Mr. Briggs?
Yes, I had. Yeah, I directed her on an audio Doctor Who with Derek Jacobi, and she played the nurse who was looking after him.
Oh.
Yeah, so yes, it was lovely to see her again, and she did remember.
I love all these deep focus shots that they do. They do a lot, which is really
Yes.
brilliant. You know,
Well,
you
when
take-
the background's out of focus.
Yeah, you take the
Yes.
camera really far away so you can get it crisp on the faces, and the foreground and background are out of focus. I mean, really very stylishly done.
It is. That's classy, isn't it?
He's a brilliant cameraman. Roger.
Roger. Yeah.
Yeah, he's brilliant. He's done the James Bond.
The Casino Royale.
The
didn't he?
Casino Royale,
Yeah.
absolutely.
Yeah.
So
And
okay.
Graham, of course. Graham Harper is just such a joy to work with, anyway, isn't he? I mean, it's
Bags of energy, loads of
Bags of
energy.
Yeah.
I'm having that.
That's right. When he's happy with it, you know he wants another one. When he'll say cut, but he won't say anything else, and then he'll go, "We'll have another one." And then when he eventually gets the one he wants, he says, "Cut, yes, please."
Yeah.
Yes, please. Yes, please.
Oh.
He wants to come and direct an audio, actually.
Does he?
Yes,
Oh,
yeah. That would be interesting, wouldn't it?
Oh, he's
He'd be
great.
setting off explosions in the studio. Yeah. No, he is. Everything everyone's ever heard about him is true. He's such a bundle of
Powerhouse.
energy.
Oh,
And,
absolutely
and,
brilliant.
And so positive and nice. And
Yeah.
just... Do you know, he phoned me up during the editing phase. He was just editing, the episodes. And just out of the blue, I was walking around London and he just phoned up just to say how brilliant he thought I was.
Oh,
Isn't that nice?
that's
of him?
very nice
That's
of him.
fantastic.
And thanks for sharing that with us.
That's all right. Then he phoned back and said, "No, I'm kidding."
That's very nice of him. Good old Graham.
That was David Tennant, he said. Well, I was talking to just then.
I love this montage sequence. I think it's
Yeah.
really brilliant with your voice, the speeches going over it.
Yeah.
And,
We keep saying how wonderful everyone else is. Can I just say how brilliant I think Tommy is, who plays
Luke.
Luke?
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
Really, really good.
He's a really great actor.
Yes, it's difficult to get good child actors.
Yeah.
He's not
Yeah.
a child, he's an adolescent.
Right, now, this is a wonderful
Oh,
sequence.
this is a
isn't
brilliant
it?
moment, isn't it? Absolutely
I think,
fantastic.
one of the things about this whole story is, I mean, this happens a lot in Doctor Who anyway, is people talking to each other on screens and on communicators and being on the phone and things. But this story had an incredible amount of people looking at video screens and talking to someone who's in a completely different place. Or in this sequence, of course, 4 different people in 4 different places on the screens. And it's so time-consuming to film, isn't it? I mean, we'd spend a couple of days in the Dalek control room shooting us just looking up at a screen that we were imagining being there. And then on a couple of other days, they'd shoot all the scenes that were actually appearing on that screen, and this happens a great deal in this story, isn't it? And it takes such a long time to shoot, because obviously, once it all gets spliced together, it's all happening in real time. But this took days and days and days to shoot.
Because remember, we turned up at that beautiful, beautiful house in the country where Harriet Jones lives.
Yeah.
And Penelope Wilton was there, and we sort of, we turned up and they'd been filming for about 6 hours, and we said, "How are you?" And she said, "Oh, I'm a bit tired. It'd be nice to actually." She said, "I'm really relieved the Daleks are finally here because it'll be nice to actually act with other people as opposed to acting."
She
with,
had spent
some...
an entire day, well, in fact, no, an entire night again, because this was another night shoot, wasn't it? She, of course, she had the crew and everyone there, and I'm sure it was, it was a great day's work, but it was pretty much Penelope Wilton sitting in front of the camera doing all that stuff entirely on her own, with the first assistant director or whoever it might have been, I don't know, reading in all these other people's lines. It can be quite a lonely thing doing a doing a video phone scene.
I love that bit just then that we had where you absolutely think it's going to be Rose and she thinks it's going to be Rose and it isn't, it's Martha.
Yeah,
I
it's
mean, really beautifully
another
done.
brilliant little piece of sleight of hand from Russell, isn't it? It's a fantastic piece of writing. Yeah. Perhaps before we get to it, because when it gets to it, it's quite quick, isn't it? We should talk a bit, Barney, about the fun we had coming in behind Penelope Wilton there in that room, because
they built a sort of diving board from her French windows.
That's right. We should just reiterate, this wasn't a set, it's a real location. It was, a real person's house, and it was a very nice house. So obviously they didn't want to muck up the floor with us Daleks, and also the floor was paved or something, so it was a little bit uneven. So for both of those reasons, they'd built a sort of ramp, hadn't they, that went along. And because of the dimensions of the house and everything, there really wasn't very much room. It was fine when we were going along in single file, but of course a Dalek's width is less than its sort of length, if you see what I mean, in terms of its footprint on the floor.
Yeah.
So we had to come in single file and then spin round. And, the spinning round took a few takes, didn't it? Because there was a bit of toppling off the platform went on.
So who was it? It was on the end, because it was
Dave.
the end one. It was Dave.
Well, that's right. Well, Dave had the hardest job.
Just
anyway,
because he's the one who's not here.
That's right.
It was
that's
Dave.
right.
It was Dave. Definitely Dave.
Well, no, he had the hardest job because he was the
Yeah.
last one through the door.
Yeah.
I was the first one through. Barney was in the middle and Dave was at the back. And because Dave was bringing up the rear, he had to get in and turn sort of,
simultaneously.
the quickest. Exactly. But it was pretty tough.
And
Wasn't
it really was like having a diving board. It was quite long but very, very thin. And it was probably, I don't know, an inch either side and your wheels would go off. And, of course, you can't see because you've got smoke in your side, your
Yep,
Dalek,
smoke again.
and
yeah.
lights in your face. But no, it was so lovely to do a scene with Penelope
And she was
Wilton.
great, wasn't she? She was really, really lovely. Came up and had a nice old chat with us. And
There must be a whole load of outtakes of this, of Penelope Wilton just laughing her head off every time a Dalek fell off that ramp. We did about 20 takes. Must have been for
was it that many?
Yeah.
Maybe it was. Yeah, it might have been. Yeah. They didn't, we didn't fall off and crash on the floor. That probably would have been very unpleasant. But just little bumps and crunches and occasional words that emitting from inside the Daleks that we won't repeat now. Yeah.
I was upstairs in the conservatory eating. I was going to name a brand name then. I'm not allowed to.
No.
Eating a mystery
eating
product.
food.
Yes, a mystery chocolate confectionery
Oh, yeah.
that had some peanut in it.
Another thing I remember is between each take, when the explosion happens outside and the Daleks come in, they had to, because it's in someone's house, it hasn't got air conditioning, they had to get these huge fans and blow all the smoke out of the French windows outside again.
That's right.
And about the first time they used them, they said, put them on suck, that'll be easier. They sucked all of the curtains in and just absolutely mashed them up into shreds, and they weren't their curtains.
Net curtains. They weren't. It wasn't. Yeah. But
Yes,
absolutely.
net curtains.
Net curtains.
Yes,
There you go.
remember that, folks. They were net curtains.
That's important.
They weren't-
That'll be important for
They
later.
weren't gross curtains. They were net.
Here we go. It's all happening now, isn't it? Yeah.
Oh, it's all kicking off. Yes.
Yeah.
Graham is so fond of that kind of shot where one person moves in one direction, the camera follows them, the other person picks them up. He's always doing that with
Very
Daleks. Really stylish stuff.
Yeah.
Very
Yeah.
hard, just takes a lot of rehearsal to do,
That's
but
right.
it really comes off
Yeah.
beautifully.
And again, getting back yet again to what we were talking about, the speeds that the Daleks move and everything. On this one, Graham was really quite big on. He wanted us to really rock it about
Yes.
the whole time, and so he was doing shots like that. I think there's one coming up in a minute. The sort of emergency shot where we really are whacking to and fro at a rate of knots, and. I think I picked up more bruises on this one than I ever have before because you can do yourself a mischief in there as you're whizzing along if you're not careful.
That's my agent's mobile number, just to let you know if you wanted to offer me a job.
Is that right?
I suppose it has to be a non-existent number, doesn't it?
That's right.
Your
right.
agent's number, I mean.
Yeah, that's why I don't work so much. Oh, very nice shot there.
Oh, that's unbelievable. In fact.
See, it is my agent. There you are.
It's Barnaby Edwards' agent. We're just wondering if you're interested in... No, he's not, no.
Now, how's that going to work?
He's clever. Oh, no, is this the... Yeah, this is the... No, oh, no, it's not this shot. It's a different one I was thinking about earlier on. Sorry. But anyway, there you are inside your hot Dalek again.
It's funny because sometimes, I'm inside there whenever it's up there, but whenever there's a cutaway of Daleks, I'm usually in one of the bronze ones as well.
That's right. That's right.
I love this. This corridor was fantastic. It's a sort of, it's a false perspective thing. All those lights are slightly smaller sizes. It really isn't that deep, the corridor.
That's
it's only
right.
about 10
It's
feet
a very
deep.
clever piece of design.
Really
cleverly
beautifully
lit,
done.
cleverly shot. Yeah, absolutely superb.
God, they're blowing everything up, aren't they?
Yep.
Yes, I did try to walk up that corridor.
Yes, and then you hear it cracking underneath you because it's just made of plywood. Oh, go for it.
Yeah. Oh, there she goes. This is another real Graham Harper special, isn't it? He really loved these shots, these sort of shots from above.
He's got such a great sense of depth, hasn't he? Because usually television flattens everything, but he's so sort of good at making it seem like a film.
Yeah.
Oh dear, it's not looking good for Harriet Jones,
So
is
yes, we're on our way to sort her out now. So yes, watch for those curtains. In fact, yeah. Oh,
Hey!
there we go.
Here they come.
it? They're just laying down the diving board now.
There's fire in the TARDIS. That's
Barbecue.
Yeah.
Oh, it's the whole thing about the cascade being 1 second in the future. I've
That's
forgotten
right,
about that. Oh. Yeah, well, time to put your chocolate bar down now, Nick, and
Oh, yeah.
do the
And-
voice.
and
Just
do-
getting
do
ready.
the voice.
Just getting ready. I was doing some typing, actually.
She's a class act, isn't she,
Yeah,
Penelope Wilton?
she's
so
brilliant.
wonderfully understated and so brilliant. Now, here we come. Yeah.
On the diving board.
So that's-
He's just going off.
Yeah.
Quick cut.
So that's Pegg Edwards Hankinson in from left to right, isn't it?
Yeah.
Yeah, there we go.
That's me speaking.
I think you'll find it's me speaking, Barnaby.
I dub you.
And the gun close-up was me. That was
Oh,
you.
was
That-
it?
That's
Oh,
Barney's
right.
eye and my gun, I remember, yeah. It's funny you remember these little details, but yes, on this bit. Yeah.
Look at that. He hit the television.
There we are.
to get technical support in for that.
Yeah. What a fabulous exit. I think,
Oh,
Yeah.
you know, every actor who plays a sort of returning part, when it's time to leave, they want to go into something
Yeah.
like that, don't they? They don't want to
Yes.
just wander off.
No,
That's
no.
a brilliant
Or
ending.
get married or
Yeah.
something, yes. Well, which is worse than being shot.
I speak from your own personal experience there.
Well, I am single.
I mean, Russell manages to outdo himself in each of the every series sort of finale. I mean, this time it's not just the end of the world; it's the end of 20, however many worlds there are.
Yeah.
I mean, I don't know how much. I think that's why he's left. Is there?
There's nothing left for
there's
him
nothing
to
bigger
destroy.
for him to do.
Yeah, hold on a sec, though. He's doing a few specials next year.
Oh, yes.
yes.
Oh, yes.
Oh, what's he going to destroy next?
This is great. No, it is fantastic the way the ante gets upped a bit more at the end of every year, isn't it? This is such a sensational, and the effects,
The Doctor's
sort of
ante.
allocation
It's the
for this
sequel
is
to The
amazing as well.
Doctor's
Isn't it? The Doctor's ante, very good. Yeah,
I love the. I mean, you look
Very
at
good.
that screen there. That takes 5 different camera setups to get that.
Yeah,
4 different people, and then to shoot the screen.
and 5 different days of
Yeah,
filming.
absolutely.
Yeah. Yeah, and we did longer on this than on any of the other 2 parts,
Yeah.
didn't we? We were filming for nearly a month solid,
Yes.
which is
Yeah. Of course, people won't have seen episode 13 where we do the roller coaster sequence.
That's right.
The
That's
ice
right.
skating
The
bit.
bath.
The
Actually,
bath. Yeah.
the tap dancing Dalek
Yeah.
sequence was quite
Well,
time consuming as well.
Dalek Khan's, practicing the tap dance here.
He had a bit of a linguini accident.
Oh, right, yeah.
It's
He was,
shot-
he was cooking in his shell, and it all just went crazy. The thing blew up, and Daleks are so messy. No one's bothered to clear up the mess.
Oh, it's terrible, isn't it?
He should be there with a little bib, shouldn't he? Knife and fork.
There's a film with David Bowie in it called The Linguini Incident.
Is there?
There is. It's not a very good film, but
Oh,
anyway,
wow.
yeah,
We'll have to cut that reference.
Linguini incident.
yeah. Not one of his best, it has to be said, but hey ho.
And that's
Yeah,
and
no,
again, that's
here
another
we
brilliant
are.
moment where
There
she
he is.
hears.
Yes,
Davros
Yes,
I was going to
first.
mention that when you. Yeah, absolutely.
And you can just sort of, really beautifully done.
That's built upon in the next episode. I would
Yes.
lay that hint. Look at those Daleks there. They're
Yes.
sort
Now
of,
this is because
"Ooh,
Graham was
having a
very
nice
into
view."
the Twitch. He
Yes.
wanted us all to be a bit on edge and a bit twitchy and a
I
bit.
think it
sort of,
works brilliantly actually when
Yeah.
you're doing that, when the eyes are moving around.
Now, I hope people have noticed, by the way, that Davros's Daleks in Davros's control room have got different sucker implements.
I bet they haven't.
To the
so
ones upstairs.
Make sure they do notice.
Yes.
Because I thought I like those.
Yeah, they're good. Yes. Yeah, no.
I did a little. Sorry, I did a gesture with my hand then, which is just not working.
It doesn't
as
really
part
work
of
on a
commentary, is it?
podcast, does
I was
it?
doing
No.
a sort of whiskey thing there.
Yeah.
No, that sounds like a spirit, a whisk-like thing.
That's still the sucker, but if you look
Yeah.
at the other Daleks, they have these little sort of rotating rotisseries on the end. There they
Yeah,
are.
yeah.
yes.
look at-
And they
And they're
slotted
twitching
into
them.
the yes.
That'll
yes.
be
well,
me
we-
twitching on the right. I'm always doing that.
Yeah. Well. So we.
Yeah, they fit it. as
Yeah, they
you said,
slotted into the
Nick, basically,
controls and everything. Yes, and then the Supreme Dalek control room Daleks have got the normal sort of plungers on them. There we are. There's some twitching going on over there as well.
Actually,
Yeah.
that probably is.
I think that's you, and I think
I
I'm
do
the one
think
over
that's
here.
Yes.
Yeah.
Oh, good.
Yeah.
Well, I'm glad we did
Yeah.
the same twitching.
Oh, we're both-
each of
yeah.
them. There we are. Very good.
Dave's is a bit slower.
He's
isn't
not
he?
twitching.
Just
but
for-
he might be twitching.
He's
he
just
might-
going clockwise.
Yeah.
Yeah. I love the
Lovely
fact that
shot.
Davros has got a robotic hand as well, because
Yes.
didn't he get his hand blown off in the old series?
Yes,
Indeed,
that's
he did.
right.
That's a nice bit of continuity with the olden days. That's right.
And in the
Ooh, look at that.
That's
Now
why they
that-
cast Julian.
That is actually a CG effect, is it not? Is that right?
no,
or am I
that is
talking?
actually Davros, and the Daleks are real. It's all yes.
All right, yeah.
But yeah,
Well,
I
it's very
suppose it must
impressive,
be Nick.
very
It must be
impressive.
Nick. Yeah, I don't know though.
I love
don't know.
the.
No, I'm not saying that's what Julian has actually got under his shirt.
That's why he never
He
took it
seemed
off.
quite well the other day
Yeah.
when I saw him.
And I love the fact that they've got Davros's makeup absolutely spot on as well.
Fabulous. Now this is the
Moving
fast
fast.
shots I was talking about. Yeah, that was. We were going at a rate of knots there. Yeah.
I mean, the thing, the makeup is, it's so Davros-y. It's kind of, actually, it's not particularly like the original. It's not particularly like the second one, but it's somehow a synthesis.
It's in the spirit
Yeah.
of, and just moving it on a few more notches as well, isn't
Yeah.
it? And I love the fact that, now that's You and Me, isn't it? I remember
Yes.
it took us a couple of goes to do that one. Yeah, yeah.
That's me talking to myself.
Yeah, yeah. I've spent my whole life doing that on this series. That's all me.
Oh, this is the Torchwood thing, which that was quite early on in filming, wasn't it? The Torchwood.
Well, it's the very first day of Dalek filming on this episode, which was quite near the beginning of the whole shoot on these two episodes, was actually the bit where the Dalek comes into Torchwood, wasn't it? That was the very first bit, and that was you.
That's my favourite bit of direction that I've ever had as a Dalek.
What was that?
The first assistant director said, "Now, Barney, when the door opens, I want you. Can you just do this for me? Can you not move?" I thought I'm just about capable.
So
of
on
that.
action, do nothing.
Yeah.
Brilliant. Okay, that's
That was
good.
a bit like when you were in the lift in Daleks in Manhattan, wasn't it? You came in the morning and all you had to do was sit in the lift and not move.
Yeah.
Was that you? Yeah, that was you, yeah.
Yeah.
Brilliant. You did do a little bit of
Did it
twitching.
beautifully.
I twitched the suckers, and but they didn't want me to actually sort of move forward.
No.
Yeah.
Here I am,
Dear, dear.
just
You-
about.
There's
about-
quite
you're
an
about to come
epic
through.
feeling about all this, isn't there? I mean, everything's going wrong.
They're just about to be up against it when they fire the guns in a moment, because they've only got the budget will only extend to 2 rounds of gunshots.
Well, it's always, this is another thing that people don't necessarily realise, is that the ammunition rounds are really very expensive, and the budget has to be sensible about these things. And Fauger, the wonderful armourer, worked wonders in getting the most out of the amount of ammunition that was available.
Yeah.
But yes, what's
illegal
quite often
arms
done
deals,
is
anything really, just to get hold of extra bullets. Yeah.
Well,
they'll cut from a shot of Gwen shooting away to a shot of Yanto shooting away, back to a shot of Gwen, which is actually a different shot because her ammunition clip had already run out. That sort of thing.
Yeah,
just
they
to
shoot
make
it with
last
different
one.
cameras.
Yeah.
There's some fantastic stunt work.
No,
coming
the
up with
driving
the-
stuff is
yeah,
absolutely superb. Now, oddly enough, the Dalek in Torchwood was the very first bit of Dalek filming, and then about a month later, our very, very last piece of Dalek filming on this whole 2 episodes was the bit with Sarah Jane meeting the Daleks in her car. So they're actually right up against each other as scenes, but the Sarah Jane in the car was filmed. That was You and Me on a street, wasn't it? And it was raining. It was pouring with rain, which
They did a marvellous job of messing up that street.
Absolutely
I would just
superb.
mention
Yeah,
here
of course,
that this, there were a load of onlookers in this.
Absolutely.
Oh, yeah.
In the middle of the
Hundreds.
night.
Yeah.
And a lot of them know, and I shan't reveal it, but they know that there's a secret way of finding where Doctor Who locations are. And a couple of them told me how. I said, how do you know where they're shooting here? And they know how to get to a Doctor Who location
That's
by
right.
following the secret clues.
Yes.
So it was lots of people with cameras, video cameras, long lens, stills cameras.
This seems like such an intimate moment, but there are 100, 200 people
Yeah.
watching.
Yeah. That's such a wonderful... This is
I
the
love
moment,
the fact that David doesn't look down.
Yeah.
Yeah.
The moment we
He's so
spent
good,
2 years
isn't he?
waiting to see, isn't it? Oh, fantastic.
I'm just about to wreck it all in a moment.
Yeah, you rotter.
I'm on a 1 in 4 hill, just to let you know.
Yeah,
and
this
they
was
had to
quite
build a
bumpy
ramp.
place, wasn't it?
Yeah. Oh,
It's the longest street in the UK.
here I
There
am.
you are, Barney, you absolute rotter.
Sorry about this. I apologise.
You see, I don't blame the Dalek because he gave him fair warning. He did shout, didn't he?
Yeah.
Yeah. So I think the Doctor had it coming. If he wasn't
That's
thinking
just
about,
unfair.
Yeah.
That really hurt.
Yeah. This is a beautiful dramatic moment. And this was played out in front of an audience of, I don't know, a couple of 100 people, maybe
Yeah.
less. But it was, very good.
It was so cold there. Really, really cold. The only thing that's stopping their breath from coming out as white clouds is that they've got, huge spotlights on them just warming it up. But it's freezing waiting around.
It's never the right temperature on Doctor Who, is it? You're either too cold or too hot.
Yeah.
Yes.
It's one or the other. You're either under
Actors
some blazing
complaining.
light or But
What else?
it's never normal anyway.
Yes.
That's for sure. It's always either cold or hot.
So remember, every little bang you hear is £1.50. So there's a television licence
That's
just
the
about to
equation.
go up.
Yeah.
Although, I mean, I do like I do like filming in the studios.
Oh yeah.
Because they've got wireless internet access.
And that's the main thing
I
for
can
you.
do my emails in between, and sometimes they say, and turn over, and you think, I'm just in the middle of renewing my subscription to that DVD thing.
Now then,
This
here's
is
a
great.
turn up for the book.
Yes.
Yes.
I wonder.
Oh,
I wonder
my
whether
goodness me, what's
people were
going-
expecting this.
Is it Jimmy Cranky that he gets
Yes.
done into? I can't remember.
That's right.
Yeah.
We must
Oh,
think
look
that's
at this
just
stunt. Fantastic. Yes, now it was pouring with rain. It doesn't look like it at all, but before every single shot, we got dusted down,
Yes.
and then the guys just ran away just before action because we were dripping with water.
Our last.
Yeah, that's me on the left and
night
Barney on the right, isn't it? Yeah,
This is this is brilliant.
Fabulous. Look
Absolutely
at that.
fantastic. And
So
here's
yes, that scene with Sarah Jane was a month after this scene here.
Yeah.
Yeah.
This is me not
The
being told
magic
to
of
move.
television.
And there's Barney doing
Don't
nothing.
move!
Don't do it!
Don't move! I was actually there that day to help out, to rehearse the Daleks, but not to film.
That's right. That's right.
God, so dramatic, this ending.
Yeah.
Fantastic.
I wonder whether anyone will guess he's going to turn into a Dalek.
I thought he was turning into an adipose.
Oh, he'll do the cute little wave, won't he?
And float up to the top of the TARDIS. Oh.
Well, I can't wait
So there we are. Till next week.
I've
What
only
is
seen
going to happen?
I've only seen bits of it. You see, I
Have
did
you?
the ADR. Yeah.
Well, I haven't seen any of next week, apart from the few little bits that I had a sneaky look at on the monitor while we were filming, which sometimes you can do. You know, pop round after a take and say, "Can I have a look at that, please?" And sometimes, if you've done well, they'll let you have a look.
Well, I hope you enjoy.
You know you've not done well.
If it was rubbish, they say, "No, we're not going to show you. We've already wiped it."
Thanks for listening, folks.
Thank you, and I hope you enjoy next week's.
Yeah, thanks very much. It's been a pleasure.